Welcome to Impact Wrestling. I just want to warn you, if I turn my head, it's because they've been firing off either fireworks or gunshots in my area. It usually around this time of year. I'm just kind of trying not to go off track, but usually around this time of year, well before July 4th, in my area, they either like to fire off fireworks, or they do gunshots, or literally they do both. Sometimes you can't tell which one is which, because they sound very similar when they're going off like that. But if I turn my head, it's because the last couple of hours, they've been shooting off fireworks very loudly. So it makes you a little nervous. Anyway, this show, we have Slammiversary coming on the 18th. Now, I didn't mention it last week, but I got to make it very clear here. They are really trying to make Slammiversary mean something. Now, I'm hoping that Slammiversary will have some people there, either going to be wrestlers or fans or a mix of both. I'm hoping beyond hope they're not going to have an empty arena again. They are still not doing it yet. I know these tapings were done weeks in advance, but we need people in the arena or the area or the Impact, wherever they're working. They need it because it still feels very empty. And it throws off the matches. I'm sorry, it just does. For me personally, I know anybody else is probably fine with this, but for me, it is throwing off the entire thing still. I still evaluate the matches for what it is, but without fans or anyone there, it brings down the match. I'm just saying. Now, the match that at first I didn't understand, but makes sense because of what happened in the middle of the show, which I will explain after this. I'm not going in order. Sammy versus Shamrock versus Elgin. No stakes involved. It's just a straight out fight between them three. Now, did Shamrock do a good job? For a guy who's about 54, 53 years old, he tried to be very athletic, jumping out of the ring, trying to run around. He is not the most fastest guy. From what I understand, when he was younger, when he was wrestling, he was never one of the most fastest guys in the ring. He was a bit slow, as it was. He was more of a power and a grapple wrestler than a high flyer or someone who is just very energetic. So here he tried it and he got tanked pretty quickly. So it's left up to Elgin and Sammy. And I gotta say this. I still feel Sammy is floating. He's doing nothing, legitimately. He really isn't doing anything. And that's upsetting me wholeheartedly. Now, of course, they could be planning something when they go into Bound for Glory. And I'm hoping that's what's going on. They're just taking the time to build this up. But to be honest, Sammy's been in filler. And instead of doing a redemption arc for him, where he could have destroyed the OVE, Eddie Edwards wasn't there. He couldn't do anything with him. But you get my point. To do a redemption arc. I know they didn't have all the pieces there, but you could have done something with OVE where he took on each one of them, tormented them, and then released them. Something that would give us some more than what we've been getting from Sammy. The match ends with Elgin winning. I'm not going to explain how good the match was or bad. Without fans, the match just feels like it's several clicks down. That doesn't mean it wasn't a good match. And I will say that, for his credit, you got Shamrock really trying to do something. But in the end, you have, after the match is over and Elgin wins, you got Sammy holding something in his hand. I didn't get the shot, I don't believe. Clicks it, and he disappears, and Shamrock is in the ring by himself because it was just those two. So what does that mean? That means Sammy and Shamrock are not done. And it just upsets me to see that they're not doing anything with Sammy. That's just me. You guys tell me below. We now have the segment. I'm going there right now. I'm not waiting. Scott D'Amore. He comes out to address what's been going on with Tessa. Now you got in the middle of the entire show, you got, parts of the show, you have little hints that we're going to have Ace Austin really know what he's going to be dealing with. And you got Elgin still being upset. And you wonder where they're going to go with this. Because they tried to present this as Scott D'Amore is going to explain what's going on with Tessa. What's going to go on with the title. And she's not there, so she can't go up against Ace Austin. So he comes out and he tries to explain, but Ace comes out, then Elgin comes out, and each one of them wants the title. Well, Elgin said, either get out of my ring or fight me for that damn title. That's what it comes down to. Then we get the Eddie Edwards. He comes back, finally. I understand the reason why he stayed away. But finally he comes back and he pretty much says, you actually think you're going to get the title handed to you? No, it doesn't work like that here. You got to fight for it. So when it came down to it, you have D'Amore saying clearly, when it comes to Slammiversary, it's going to be a fatal 5-way. It's going to be you guys with Tessa, and pretty much Ace is trying to mess with him, saying, are you dumb? You got some brain cells missing? And Scott says, you know what, you're right, I am a little dumb, a little fat, and I never learned how to count in high school. It was my coach who taught me how to count, my football coach, because he's saying he was pretty much stupid. But the last person is right behind you, and that was Trey, who pretty much jumped from the top ring, bro. Oh, there goes a big one. Sorry, that was a big explosion. But essentially now Trey's in the mix, flat out. He's now in the mix between Tessa, Elgin, Eddie, Ace. So we got 5 people that's going to be set up for Slammiversary. Honestly, this is going to be a very interesting question of where they're going. We still have no answers about what's going on between Trey and Wentz. And they did try to partially address this well before this segment had happened with Scott D'Amore. And the North showed up finally. It looks like they finally were able to get out of Canada. I'm glad for them. And they're pretty much saying, you guys got some issues. Instead of focusing on us, you're focusing on something you know only one of you can have. Focus on us. We're the important thing here. And we're going to whip your ass. Now, before that happened, Trey is mad. He wants to know who did it. And then when he saw Wentz, he's angry about what's going on with Wentz. And then you got the person that I thought was going to be in between. And that's Dez. As I said in my last Impact review, I wanted the Rascals to have a feud between themselves. Wentz would have been the perfect opportunity. Now it looks like they might be going there. But when it came to Dez, he didn't try to say, guys, stop this. Don't worry about this. It doesn't matter who was where. And yes, Wentz was somewhere else. But it's not the point. We're family. And it was Wentz, when he was talking to North, saying, I'm not messing with my family. This is my family. He was screaming at them, yelling. Now, this could be a couple of things when it comes to the Rascals. One, it could still be Wentz. 2, it could be Dez. Now that would be interesting because of how Dez acted. Pretty much pointing the finger literally at Wentz, saying, you disappeared, dude. You said you were going somewhere. I don't know where you're going. So it almost looked like Wentz could still be it. But then a little bit of shade has been thrown on Dez. Wondering what's going on. I don't know. It's no answers right now, so I'm going with the title. But it's a wonder what's going to happen. Particularly that Wentz had to just walk off and leave because he had something to do. So that is a very interesting question to see where they're going. Now, I want to just say this briefly about Rhino and Raju. This is supposed to be a feud about respect. That Raju's crying like a little bitch. And Rhino's saying, stop crying like a little bitch. You got to earn it. Stop saying you don't get your options, your opportunities. Do something. So now they're going to have a feud. Now, am I happy to see Raju in a feud? Yes. Am I going to be happy to see that Raju may actually get over and then maybe be booked to do something in the X Division? I'm hoping, but it's still a question, will they do it? Will they pull the trigger on Raju? Because he's been around a long time. 3 straight years. I believe it's 3 years. It's been a while. Sorry, guys, if I'm forgetting how long he's been in there. It's been, I think, 3 years, but I could be wrong about the time, and I probably am. But you guys can tell me below. That's going to be a question. Now, we have the Chris Bay and the Johnny Swinger versus the cobbled together team of the Willa Mack and the cousin Jake from the Deaners. It wasn't about the match. I mean, the match wasn't bad. You know this was about Chris Bay. And about Chris Bay getting over, at least to a certain extent. At least the way it looked at first. Because Chris Bay lost, along with Johnny. He just lost. And then they attack cousin Jake and Willie Mack. But then you got Cody Deaner coming back. And then you see them getting beat up. And then they have to retreat. Now, maybe they're going to include Disco Inferno. I'm just saying, maybe Disco Inferno will help out Johnny Swinger and Chris Bay. Maybe they could be the ones that could help him get over a little bit more. To be honest, the Ultimate Finesser, the Smooth Criminal to me, baby, really, this does give him a good rub that he's working with two legends, especially being so young in the business. But I'm wondering where they're going to go with this and how far they're going to go with this. Because, yes, the Deaners are going to eventually face who Johnny Swinger's going to work with. Because they're going to do a 6-man tag eventually. It's got to happen. But the question is, will the Chris Bay finally get his moment, maybe at Slammiversary, against Willie Mack? I'm not expecting him to win, but he will get a very good rub working with Willie on one of the signature pay-per-views of Impact Wrestling. Now, we have Crazy Steve versus Jacob Chris from Cancel Culture. They finally went there. Cancel Culture. Now, you got RVD back. You got Katie Forbes is back. That beautiful woman with no disrespect. She got a big ass. Woman thick. No disrespect to her. She had to work her butt off to make sure that butt looks the way it was. She has to work hard. For anyone that looks like that and wrestle, you gotta bust your butt lifting some heavy ass weights to make yourself look that damn good. So I give my compliments to her. Is she a great wrestler? From the times I've seen, she's not bad. So she had to bust her butt to make sure that body of hers looks the way it does. Just like RVD at 50 years old to 51. I believe he's about 51 soon. Because I'm going to be 49 now. He was already near 50 or hitting 50 when I turned 48. So he's got to be nearing 51 now. So he still looks good for his age. But when it comes down to cancel culture, it's actually quite interesting. They're feeding into social media. And it makes it work. You got the Joseph P. Ryan saying that now Jacob Chris is on their side. He's working with them. He's no longer someone who disrespects people and hurts people. When it comes to the Steven who has an issue, he's going to teach him that words don't hurt. But we will hurt you with our actions. I know he didn't say it like that, but pretty much, you want to say some words, we're going to give you action. And pretty much once the match happens, you got some help from Joseph to Jacob. He wins. You move on. Now, I'm wondering, where are they going to go with Dave Chris? Is Dave Chris going to... I'm wondering this. Will Dave Chris come and attack Joseph? Will he attack Jacob? Will he team up with Crazy Steve? That is a big question. We have no answers yet. Now, let's see here. What am I forgetting? Raju. If I'm forgetting anything, I'm sorry, guys. We did have an interview before the segment between Scott. Let me put it like this. We see Moose with the Ace Austin. He's trying to say, I'm going to get the title. And Moose says, forget about that. This is the title to go for. They're in my face. I'm going like, where are they going with Moose? Are they going to do something substantial with Moose? Yes, he's having a match with Hernandez next week for the title. But it's like, I'm wondering, are they really going to do something special with Moose? They just threw him a title because Tessa wasn't there. Now, are they going to do something special with Moose after Slammiversary? Will they really make this title mean something? I'm not expecting it to be a mid-card title. It's still a mock title. But the question's going to be, will they do something with it? Or will they just keep this up until things become stable enough they can just drop the title again? And that's what I'm worried about Moose. Look, I'd rather have seen Elgin have the title than Moose if they're not going to go anywhere Moose. Because at least you know with Elgin, they have a good argument to say Elgin is angry. He won this title from Moose. He's the true champion. And other titles garbage because it's a lie, because for 2 months she was supposed to be here. For every 30 days she's supposed to defend the title. That is the same thing in Impact as in WWE and ROH and AEW. You got to defend it every 30 days. At least if they still have that rule. And she has not been there for 2 straight months. So he has the right to say that. I would be happy to see that. Then see Moose hold on to this title and they're just teasing it and doing a little bit of stuff with him. And then after Slammiversary, they drop it. They drop the title. They drop the push for Moose and he does nothing. That's what I'm hoping does not happen. Now, final match of the night. If I'm forgetting something, I am sorry. We have Jordynne Grace versus Taya Valkyrie. Now, we finally have all 3 of the triangle together. Taya Valkyrie, Rosemary, and Johnny Bravo. You see that Taya is trying to get the Johnny Bravo wrapped around her little finger again. And he kind of is, but then Rosemary is still kind of preventing that a little bit. And when you see next week, I do believe that we're going to get a more expansion on this lovely triangle of the Johnny Bravo being caught between the Assassin of the Shadows versus Mr. Slamtown. Now, was the match good? I think, for me personally, the match was the best of the night. One, due to the fact the women were closing the show, that we finally get a chance to see Jordynne Grace. We finally get a chance to see Taya Valkyrie. Are they rusty? Not too much. But like I said in the beginning of this review, without any fans, without any wrestlers acting like fans, this feels empty-ish a little bit. Instead of it being a 10, it's 2 clicks down to maybe 4 clicks down. If you're going to say that this was the best match. And I'm not saying it is. But it just brings it down between 2 to 4 ticks. And that's so hard to just ignore. But the match was good for what it was. You got... When it comes down to it, once Johnny Bravo and Rosemary were talking, and Taya basically taps out to what lock she was doing, that's Jordynne Grace. It looks like basically a sleeper, and she decides to tap out to it. It's probably a rear naked choke, and she did a rear naked choke instead of a sleeper, and she taps to it. Fine. But, what is the girl's name? Diana Purrazzo. I'm mispronouncing Purrazzo. I'll eventually get her name. She kind of reminds me of Princess Diana, the Amazon of the Wonder Woman series. She kind of reminds me of Diana. And she walked out like she was Wonder Woman. She walked out like she was a dominating force that walked in front of a Jordynne Grace and then looked at her, looked at the title, whacked her down, and put her into an armbar where Jordynne Grace tapped the hell out really freaking quick. You now have a new force in Impact Wrestling. And the question's going to be, where are they going? Now, I know I did not mention about Su Yung and the Tasha Steele. There's no reason to talk about them right now. Yes, Tasha Steele won the match, Susie lost, and now you're going to have Jessica Havoc and Navarra. I believe her name is Navarra. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing her name right. And you're going to have something going on with them. But this is not about that. This is about clearly so many questions, no answers. That's good. We have no idea where they're going with Havoc and Navarra. We have no idea where they're going with Peraza. We don't know how far they're going to go with Johnny Swinger dealing with Chris Bay. Will Disco Inferno be involved? Because now Cody Deaner's come back. Eddie Edwards is back now. So you're wondering who else is going to be coming back, particularly at Slammiversary. Now, I'm going to say this. I was sure when I saw the advertisement of Slammiversary, we're going to have a good amount of people come to Impact Wrestling. But the question's going to be how many. We know Rockstar Spud is not coming back. I even said that to one of my subscribers. They said, Spud has lost his job. He's not coming back. I said, look, Spud wants to stay in the WWE. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. And look what happened. I have not watched where Rockstar Spud managed to keep his job. A lot of people didn't like how the tournament went. And Rockstar Spud not only survived the tournament, but he managed to get his job back. A lot of people are not happy they made it about Rockstar Spud, which is Drake Maverick. But the key of this entire situation now is that once Slammiversary comes around, there's going to be either old blood coming back or semi-old blood coming back, people who are in Global Force Wrestling, like Anderson and Gallows, or new blood. When you heard Rhino talk about, I only have one partner and he has kids, you wonder if Heath Slater has just been dropped to go to Impact Wrestling. It's going to be a question of how many people are going to go to Impact, AEW, maybe NWA when they get started back up again. Of course, there's going to be some people going to ROH and maybe New Japan Pro Wrestling. But you wonder how many are going to Impact. Is it going to be 1, 2, 5, maybe 10 more people coming back? And I got to say this clearly, try not to make this stretch too far. And I want to question you guys. Can the writing team of Impact Wrestling write properly for an extra 3, 4, 5, or even 10 people coming back? This is where things are going to be an issue. A big one. Impact Wrestling has a huge opportunity right now. They're getting some exposure because so many people were released from WWE. And I found that the WWE, they're trying to get those people back at only a fraction of what they were getting. If they were getting $500,000, they may only give them $200,000 or $100,000. They're giving them way less than they had before. So a lot of them will not go back. So as many people that are so hype to see that Impact Wrestling may get a lot of people that came back from the original TNA days, like an Eric Young or Anderson Gallows from pretty much Global Force Wrestling, and EC3 could come back. Hell, you could have Zack Ryder. Heath Slater could go there because they just dropped it with Heath Slater through the Rhino. You never know who's going to be involved. But can they write for them? If they can't write for them and they end up in the back or on Explosion, this is not going to be good. So we have to, as fans, be very, very cautious. I'm saying it clearly. Watch out. Do not be so hyped that you'll think that this is all going to go well when notoriously for Impact, no matter what writing team you have, they screw the pooch on it. Every single time. They give us something good, a whole bunch of people come in, and then they do nothing with them and ruin the storylines they have. So let's just be cautious. Please, remember my words. Be cautious. Think about it. But that's just me. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.